Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf live for a brand new show on two wheels. Well, as you can see, I'm not on two wheels. I'm actually in the man cave, bringing you a brand new show to keep you all company in these troubling times, I think, for want of a better word. Now, I've been out on the bike this morning. The world is changing around us, as we know. Whether it's reached you yet or not, this coronavirus is changing our lives, the way different governments are reacting to it, and how that's going to affect our mobility, how that's going to affect our ability to have a social life, motorcycle social life, car social life, whatever kind of life you lead. Times are going to change temporarily. I've been out making a few videos this morning. Those will be coming out soon. You'll also be able to listen to this live stream as a podcast. If you can go to the website, and you'll see on the sidebar there are links to the podcast sites. It's SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes. It will all be downloaded there. So if you prefer to watch it there, or listen to it there, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to be doing a regular shows like this. I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to see if I can do daily shows or at least every couple of days. They will be impromptu shows. I can't really guarantee a time unless I become housebound. I have to self-isolate, which I don't have to do now. If I succumb to this coronavirus, then I will definitely do a daily show if I am fit and able to do it. But right now, I'm absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with me at all. Nothing wrong with our household. In fact, for most people, you could say in the UK, we're fighting fit. We're trying to get on with it. But there are massive problems out there. So I've been out on the bike this morning. I had a bit of a shock in that I went past a gas station, a petrol station, and it was all not boarded up, but there's all tape around it. You can't enter it. Lots of businesses have already closed down. Cinema, restaurants, bars, pubs, whatever, they've all closed down. So there's lots of things that are changing rapidly. Right today, they're closing the schools. There's lots of confusion of what kind of service the schools will be able to provide to key work, or the children of key workers. And there's a list of key workers who basically work in the healthcare, emergency services, and delivery services, and the food retail services. There's also lots of discussions on how businesses are going to survive, motorcycle businesses, everyday businesses, how we are going to cope with this as a society, both physically and mentally. The psychological pressures just growing day by day. So there's going to be lots to discuss. There's going to be lots and lots of stories coming out, and lots of individual concerns. We fully appreciate that. But overwhelmingly for me, there's got to be a sense of calm. There's got to be a sense of order. There's got to be some sense out there. It's not going over the top, but not losing our minds, not losing our heads in what we do. Let's not break down society just because, there is a virus and it will affect a few people. And obviously there are going to be lots of deaths over it. But we need to all collectively look at this situation and try and find the positivity out there. So one of the things, I don't want to make this podcast and this live show about having to deal with the virus, how it's going to affect us. I think we all know that. We can all get that from the news agencies. You don't need me to be sat here in front of you and talking to you or about this situation. Actually, I think what we need to do is start looking at positivity, looking at things that we can do by ourselves or with our families, if we're cooped up, or if we're restricted on where we can go and what we can do, what are the kind of things that we can do. So one of the first things that we can do, I suppose, as motorcyclists, if you are stuck in your house, you are isolated, you're restricted from movement, Well, I think it's time to get the bike out and give it a damn good clean, don't you think? Give it a deep clean. Now we can all be pro. Look at the positive side of this. We can all be pro motorcycle cleaners. At the end of this, we can come out, if we survive, that is, we can come out the back end of this, and we'll all be experts on what works best and what doesn't. So, this is the challenge for everybody, to come up with something, new ideas on how to clean your bike, polish chrome, look at getting really deep into those awkward spaces. Let's look at new ways, not stuff that's already been on the internet, lots of stuff that's been on on YouTube channels in the past. I'm talking about new stuff. Let's start coming up with lots of new ideas, and see what we can come up with. Start posting your pictures on your Instagram or whatever, and your Twitter feeds and all that kind of stuff. Let us know. Send in your pictures to the website. Let us know what you're doing and how you're doing. Are you even gonna, because I think one of the things is that the life is changing so much, but we need to have a sense of normality. We need to be able to, whether it's only for 2 or 3 weeks, whether it's only for 2 or 3 months, whatever it is, we need to be able to have that sense of normality, that we can just do our daily things and, still be concerned about silly little things. It's going to be so easy to kind of, put our hands up or throw our hands up in the air or arms up in the air and think, oh, that's it, the end of the world now. Life as we know it is over. Well, it might be temporarily, but we've still got to be back there. We still got to do something positive with our lives, and we still got to still carry on regardless. I think I'm a great believer in that. I'm a great believer that we've got to stick together. Now, I say this is one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to do these live shows. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. More like a radio show, if you know what I mean, but I've wanted to do it, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to provide some kind of service to anybody out there. But I think we can start doing things at home, so we can definitely start looking after our bikes, detailing our bikes, coming up with different ways to do things. Let's talk about little innovative things around the home that we can think about doing. What we can build something, create something. Can we be creative at home? What about producing art and, all this kind of stuff? Now, many people might be scoffing at this and thinking, well, there are more important things in the world right now than talking about being creative at home. But for me, I think it comes down to, actually, you've got to carry on, certainly in the short term, in trying to do things better. And look, you've got to take your mind off the worry. You got to take your mind off what could be happening out there, in the big bad world. And you've got to find a way to, if you're financially able to stay at home, let's say, and see this out, you're gonna have to find a way to keep yourself sane, because look, you might be cooped up with your nearest and dearest at home, and let's face it, they're already predicting divorce rates going up, stress going through the roof, people having a go at each other. So I think whatever we can do to avoid that, we've got to do it. If you have the ability to escape to your own little private room, let's say your man cave, guess what? Do it. For your own sanity and the sanity of your family. If some of you are studying for, I don't know, whatever it is, an exam, and you think, just keep on doing it, keep on doing that studying. Many people, I think, this is futile. Why do we need to do that? This is ridiculous. But I think it's positive. I got a message coming through. Let's see what that is. Scoot. Hello, Scoot from Germany. Hi, Alf. Take it serious. Absolutely right. Take this situation seriously. But protect yourselves. Be sensible. Absolutely right. But you've got to find a way to be positive out there, people. You've got to find a way to carry on regardless. And if you're stuck at home, or if you're isolated at home, this stay-at-home thing, that we're all isolating, we're keeping our distance from people, then we've got to find a way to still be productive, still be creative, still talk to each other, keep each other company. And I think that's what, you know, I'm going to try and do with this live show and podcast. Still reach out to everybody and let you know that, look, you know, it's probably going to get worse over the next few weeks, but you know, we can still reach out for each other, and we can still lend a hand, whether, you know, physically, you know, help each other out in a community, or whether we can, you know, be some kind of emotional support for each other, you know. And as I say, many people may scoff at this. Many people may think, what a ridiculous thing. But I honestly believe that whilst we've got to be absolutely focused on this, dealing with this virus, but we've also got to keep our heads, and we've got to find a way to, you know, be positive out there. Hey, got a next one. Harley, hello. Good day, sir. I'm positive. Picking up my new bike tomorrow. You see, now that's what I like. That's what I like. That's it. Keep on going, my son. Keep on going. What are you getting? Tell us what you're getting. Scoot, yeah, thanks for your input. Oh, no, you're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Look, this is all about everybody, you know, in it together, trying to find positivity and trying to help each other out. So Hepcat Harley, nice one, good riding. Yes, Tracer 900 GT, nice, lovely. Well, hope you have fun with that thing. Anyway, so yeah, let's know where you're riding. What are there any restrictions where you are right now? I say right now, so I've been riding around this morning. Absolutely, there are no restrictions in our mobility right now, but there are. There will obviously we're asking people who are vulnerable society or elderly to stay away. There's been lots of problems in terms of the forecast for the economy over here. You know, bars, restaurants, cafes, they're either closing down or there's hardly anybody going there. If there are, you know, then people are questioning, well, should people even be going there at all? Why doesn't the government make a definitive law to close everything down? If that's the case, there's lots of questions. And I say I've made sort of 3 videos this morning covering lots of those different issues. But I say this live stream, I wanted to just be positive out there. I mean, you know what? I will tell you exactly what I did. And I went to do a little bit of shopping of what I could get, because there's hardly anything out there on the shelves. People panic buying left, right, and center. But I thought, do you know what? I am going to be normal. I rode down the Harley dealership. There's still some activity there. There's still a few bikes in and out of there. I popped into there the other day. They were welcoming. I think they were, you know, rabbit caught in the headlights as well. They don't know, just like the rest of us, what's going to happen. A few inside scoops, which I can't really reveal. I've had, you know, there was the little food truck out the back was still open. The garage, the gas station, petrol station was still open. So things are still ticking along, but there are signs that, you know, it's going to get tough for people. Long queues to get into the pharmacy. There have been long queues to get into supermarkets and stuff like that. But I thought, no, I'm not going to get involved in any of that. So I went to the local, what we call Halfords here, which is a car accessories, motorcycle accessories place where you can buy shampoos and batteries and things like that. And I went to get detailing stuff for my bike. Yes. I went to look at different types because I've got all these minor little scratches all over my paintwork on the side panels, on the tank. So, you know, if I am stuck indoors, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to be cleaning that bike to death, and I'm going to try and get it back to showroom condition if I can. And so that's one of the problems which I've had with my bike. It's not the bike's problem. It's not Harley's problem. It's just, I think, the way I was very eager initially in polishing it and washing it, and I think some of the cloths that I was using were just putting little scratches in all over the place. So, you know, that's why, you know, I went and bought some of that. I thought, crikey, why not? Let's just get, got to live your life, got to keep on living your life. My other half was saying you shouldn't be going to the shops because you're getting close to people. I said, well, I'm still going to go. I'm still going to, you're not, getting so close to each other that you need to, we haven't got restrictions on movement yet. You still just keep your distance, keep away from people. Absolutely fine. Scoot, here we go. In Germany, one advice to stay indoors. Only food markets are open now. Everything is closing down. I don't think we're far behind you here, Scoot, to be honest with you. Obviously other countries have complete lockdown. They're restricting mobility. Some of the news coming out of England right now, this morning, would you believe that there's been the first arrest and there will be a fine and prosecution, I believe, 3 months in jail, I believe, for the first person who has refused to go into quarantine, refused to be isolated, and they kicked off a stink, and there we go. That's it's an interesting thing. I've talked about this in the videos as well, but I'll briefly mention it here. We've all got to play the game. We've all got to, we've got to do what we need to do collectively to get over this. Yes, there might be overreactions. Yes, there might be blanket policies, but also, we've got to think of the big picture here. We've got to think of what we can do, what we can't do, what we're allowed to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's more people, who think, oh, yeah, I'm not going to do that. You can't tell me what to do. And because of the greater good, as it were, more people will come unstuck with that. But I think in the long term, they've got to look at any laws that are changed, how that affects the rest of society. Once this crisis is over, are they going to get these laws back, or are they going to leave them in place? Civil liberties and all that kind of stuff. So, let's look at that. Alf, if you're not working, do you get financial help in the UK? Wow. Interestingly, massive debates going on right now here, Scoot, as to if businesses, they're going to break. They're talking about governments trying to boost the economy or hold up the economy by helping businesses, and they're saying, well, we can give you loans, at very favorable rates, and then businesses are saying, well, look, we're just about to close here. We've got our staff that we have to lay off. There's no way that we're going to be able to survive this. And so there's lots of anger rising within amongst the working man, the business community, and say, well, look, you've basically told everybody to stay away from bars and restaurants and everything because of the control of the virus. Fine enough. But you've left us out in the cold as business owners and people who work in these sectors. So basically, we have to lay everybody off. So our businesses will go to a wall. And now you're saying we can take out a loan to keep things going. But you've already told people to stay away from our business. So therefore, what's the point? It's a difficult situation all over. I mean, there are going to be massive losers here in terms of financial. But, at an individual level, people are starting to question what they should be doing. Can they carry on working? Can they find other ways of earning money? And this is why it is leading to all this panic buying. People just don't know. The fact of the matter is that the government might be able to help everybody out to a certain degree, up to a certain point, but they can't do it forever. And they're talking about statutory sick pay for everybody who has to self-isolate and all this kind of stuff. But many people can't afford statutory sick pay just to, because everybody's been overspending for years, and everybody's, got mortgages. Not everybody, but a lot of people have got mortgages, they've got car payments, all this kind of stuff. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. Scoot, you're saying, think Boris has not taken enough measures quickly enough. It's an interesting one because lots of people will say, look, if you're going to make these policies, make it now. Don't keep on waiting. But on one hand, they're trying to stagger this approach. They're trying to stagger, how it affects people, how it affects the economy, and they're looking at the science to see who is actually really being affected properly. And also, you've got to consider here. In Northern Europe, especially in Scandinavian countries, and to a certain degree. in the UK as well. We're kind of a different society to Italy, Spain, Greece, and places like that, because we're not as close to each other. Families don't live with each other so much. There is more distance, there is more social distancing, there is more social isolation and stuff like that. So the feeling is that actually we don't have to take such drastic steps as Italy have done, let's say, and everything. But also Italy have been behind the curve in such the way they did this. Also, the medics, they weren't really prepared with protective equipment as well. So they're looking at differences. They're looking at they're asking questions, and they're trying to get data from Italy and from other countries. And they're saying, okay, how are you operating socially in the healthcare system as well? What are there any cultural differences? Will it be the same here? Can we change things? There's been massive confusion over whether schools should be closed or not here, because one of the big problems is they're trying to protect the National Health Service here, and they're saying if children are not have to be sent home, then who's going to look after them? Who's going to look after the children? And it's a knock-on effect of people who work in the healthcare system. It doesn't have to be doctors or nurses or whatever. It could be cleaners. It could be anything like that. If they have to stay at home and not go to work to fund the system or the healthcare system, then everything will break down really soon. And that's what they're really afraid of. And let's bear this in mind, that we also live in a society where younger children are also looked after by elderly grandparents quite often as well, or even for an hour or two a day whilst children come home from school and that kind of thing. So there's big issues here that haven't been resolved. They haven't really thought, well, I'm sure they thought it through, but they haven't really got a proper plan for it. We're going to have to see how it works, because right now, today, schools are closing, and people are going to have to find ways of being able to deal with this. They're already talking about whether more restrictions will be imposed. As a key sector worker, we're going to be given letters. So if there is a lockdown and restriction, we're still going to be able to have movement. That's all old, all key sector workers. But it's a way of trying to maintain order. It's a way of trying to maintain the economy. It's a way of trying to keep everything going, but at the same time trying to find the best way to protect people. And the best way to protect vulnerable people certainly is to isolate them too. But we haven't even talked about the psychological impact of that. But I go to the shops and I can still see older people walking around doing stuff. So you say that we haven't actually got that right. Those older people need to stay away. They need to and the society is coming together. We've already got little community programs around here in this area, and it's going all around the UK, that people who are fit and able are offering their services, their time to go and help people out, to go and deliver food or whatever. But there isn't that, that infrastructure right now to make sure that people who are by themselves and who are elderly and vulnerable, are being able to be serviced by other people. There we go. Scoot, my wife is an old age nurse. People stole disinfectant material from the... Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Because then when society starts to break down, when people start stealing stuff, I've already seen it. We've already had it here. People stealing stuff, people, going into shops and running out with stuff. This is where you got to say, well, people talk about civil liberties, and I've made a video about it and the restrictions that we post on it. If you've got people doing that, then you have to stop them first of all from doing it, but you also have to hold them to account. You can't have people just running riots and stuff like that. And it's just ridiculous. People have just been doing stupid stuff already. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. No, your spelling is fine. No problems at all. I understand what you're on about. But and I said the other day, it's like an idiot tax, a dickhead tax. You've got to stop people acting like idiots out there, because all you're doing, you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about the rest of the people. If we don't think, I've always thought this. Forget about what's happening now, but I've always thought this. We've got to think of society as a whole. If we don't think of society as a whole, it will break down very, very quickly. And whether in a motorcycle community, a car community, whatever small community you have, we have to, where we live, we have to act as a community, but within our own groups, our own social circles, we have to act as a group as well. We all have to do this. The only thing we can do right now, or the government can do right now, and the food suppliers, the supermarkets, is up the supply. Up the supply until everybody stops buying so much, right? But just keep on supplying it, so that and people will run out of money. They won't be able to do it, and then you're going to have to restrict people who are, and you have to, if people want to, start trying to steal, then unfortunately, if people do this kind of stuff, what will happen is it will lend itself to the government saying, right, we need more law enforcement, or we need the military on the streets as well to stop people, looting, is essentially what it comes down to. That's the worst case scenario, when people start, thinking, oh, laws don't apply to them anymore. They're just acting selfishly, and that's it. And they're just going to, people could end up dying for stealing bloody sanitizers and toilet roll. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're going to put yourself in prison just for that. It's ridiculous. So you don't need to do it. We need to control it. The government need to control it. And yes, a lockdown, as you say, Scoot, I think they're looking at that. They're definitely looking at here. They're debating whether they need to do it now, or whether they're going to see how things happen over the next week or next few days, how people are acting. And if you can't trust the people, I've got a feeling you won't be able to, if they don't keep these supplies going, if they don't control the way people are buying. Already they've started to stop people buying in bulk, and maybe they should have done that right at the start. Maybe when this phenomena started, they should have said, right, but they didn't. For a few days, for a week or so, they were just letting people buy as much as they wanted, and they could say, well, actually, you've got to stop now. But anyway, it's a difficult one. This is a difficult one. But right now, so we've still got we've still got freedom of movement, and we've still got the ability to get out there and do our stuff. So if there's any more news, then I will bring it out to you. But right now, so my intention, if I am at home, if I'm here, I will be doing a daily show for you. So keep a lookout for that. There will be a podcast. I will be continue to make videos, but I'm going to get on my bike and ride as much as possible. And I'm also going to be trying to find new ways, different ways of cleaning the bike. Or thinking of things to make around the house that we can do together. Maybe have a build along together, something like that. But there's going to be lots of ideas, lots of ways that we could all stay together in this together. I think that's the most important thing. Help each other out. Here in Germany, we are waiting to see if Saturday the mass people adhere to the government. If not, it's lockdown. Yeah. I think everybody's thinking the same. They're not even sure whether the lockdown in Italy and China was the right thing to do, because people in Italy are still dying. Obviously, people in China, it seems to have stopped so much. But the thing is, can you trust all the data that's coming out of China? Who knows? I'm no expert here, but we've got to go with what we've got, really. But anyway, look, as I say, Scoot, thank you. Ride safe. Maybe change your handlebars on your bike. You know what? I'm certainly thinking about it. Certainly thinking about doing stuff like that. But that was definitely on the cards, to buy, to get new bars for it and everything like that. So who knows? We've got to come up with ideas to entertain ourselves, haven't we? And lighten the mood a little bit, or distract us from the worries that are going to happen. I'm sure. But anyway, look, I'm gonna leave it there for now. But say I will just keep on checking out the channel, subscribe to the channel, click the bell next to the subscribe button. Then you'll get a notification anytime that I do an impromptu live show as well. Then you can watch it, or you can know something's gone on. Then you can either watch it, or then you can download the podcast later on. But I say, go to the website RevelatorAlf.com, click on the podcast links on the sidebar if you want to listen to it as a podcast, or just watch this on YouTube as well, like that. Scoot, read Bukowski. Absolutely right. Read Bukowski books. Brilliant books. I'm very much a fan, as we've already discussed anyway. It's an opportunity to get some good reading in, get some good, do stuff that you never would have done because our lives are so busy. So just, if you are having to stay at home, just do stuff that you wouldn't normally have done, and I'm not saying you have to read 24/7, but do stuff like that. Maybe we'll have a read along together. Maybe this would be like Jack and Ori back in the old day. If you remember that of the UK television when we were growing up, we can all have a read along together. How about that? That's not a bad idea, is it? In fact, that's not a bad idea at all. Maybe I'll do that. Right. This is me over and out, and I will catch you again on the next live show on Two Wheels, which I'm pretty much going to be doing anyway. But anyway, take it easy out there, and I'll catch you again. Please like, share, subscribe, leave those comments afterwards. Let us know what you think. Let us know what's happening in your part of the world, where you are. If you're still riding, if you're still able to function normally, what's happening with the shops, what's happening with the food supplies, all that kind of stuff, your government restrictions, all that kind of stuff, and the fight against this coronavirus and all that kind of stuff, and people are being affected near you, and how you feeling about that, all that kind of stuff. Share and everything. Hepcat Harley, stay safe, Earthlings. Yes, same to you, sir. Same to you. And enjoy the bike. Enjoy that bike. I certainly will enjoy mine. Anyway, right, I will be here again very soon. Loads of videos coming out, so even if you're not watching the live shows, I'm still pumping out videos for you on a daily basis as well. So they might be a little bit out of sync right now. There might be some other ones that you think, is that really relevant right now? It's just that there is a batch that are out there that had already done before, things are escalating and changing every day. So bear with me, but hopefully you still find them entertaining anyway. Right, catch you again. I really need to go. I'm dying for the loo. Ta-da.